If you ever stop to realize that the food sitting on your plate right now might actually be rewriting your genetic destiny? We usually just think of our meals in terms of, calories, macros, or energy to get through the day. But what if that turkey sandwich isn't just a sandwich, but a biological flash drive? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into this radical, totally backed by science concept: food is not just fuel, it's a biological code. We're going to explore the wild, dynamic relationship between what you eat, how your hormones process all that information, and how it literally alters the expression of your DNA through a mechanism called epigenetics.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, food as biological information. Second, hormones as our chemical messengers. Third, we'll dive above the genome into epigenetics. Fourth, the thrifty phenotype concept. And finally, how to actually hack your biological code.
All right, part 1, food as biological information. Let's completely reframe what's actually on your plate. Think of your body as the hardware. The food you eat, that acts as the software code telling your whole system exactly how to operate. Every single time you eat, you're effectively downloading a software update to your cellular network. It's crazy to think about, right? This food communicates with your microbiome, your mitochondria, your cells. It gives them environmental signals. It tells them what season it is, whether you're in an environment of scarcity or abundance, and literally how to direct electron flow.
There's this quote that just perfectly hits the nail on the head for this paradigm shift. We have to start looking at food as information in the exact same way we look at light as information. Literally every bite you take is a signal. It tells your cells, especially your energy-producing mitochondria, to change their expression. It can actually alter which proteins are being made in a specific cell. It's an environmental cue that fundamentally changes how your metabolic engine runs.
Moving on to part 2, hormones, the chemical messengers. This is essentially the operating system of the human body.
So hormones are your body's biochemical messengers, produced by your endocrine system. Think pituitary, thyroid, and adrenal glands. They travel through your bloodstream to target specific organs, and they regulate pretty much the whole shebang: your growth, metabolism, mood, and how you handle stress. But, and this is a big but, this operating system heavily relies on tightly controlled negative feedback loops to keep everything in balance, or homeostasis. If the dietary information you're feeding the system is chaotic, well, the resulting hormonal signals are going to be chaotic too.
And this brilliantly illustrates how different diets trigger completely different chemical cascades in your body. Take a high-sugar meal, especially one loaded with commercial fructose. That promotes insulin resistance, which means your cells just stop responding properly to insulin, the hormone trying to clear sugar out of your blood. It can also keep your stress hormone, cortisol, totally elevated. Now, flip that around. Inputting a high-protein, healthy-fat meal provides the essential amino acids your body actually needs to build peptide hormones. It drops the hunger hormone ghrelin, prevents those crazy cortisol spikes, and massively improves your insulin sensitivity. You are quite literally programming yourself to feel balanced and full, instead of stressed and starving.
All right, part 3, above the genome, epigenetics. We're zooming way into the cellular source code now. This brings us to epigenetics. Coined back in 1942, the word literally translates to above the genome. The original researcher, C.H. Waddington, used his brilliant metaphor. He described biological development as an epigenetic landscape. Imagine a marble rolling down a hill full of valleys and ridges. Your cells are that marble, guided by environmental factors like diet, stress, and chemical exposures. Your baseline DNA sequence doesn't actually change, but these environmental factors place chemical tags, like methylation, directly onto the DNA. And those tags determine exactly where the marble ends up by literally turning certain genes on or off.
Now, this gets truly mind-bending when we look at transgenerational epigenetic inheritance. Imagine an initially exposed pregnant woman. Inside her womb is her developing fetus. But inside that fetus are already the developing reproductive cells, the eggs or sperm, that will eventually become the next generation, the grandchild. This means that a pregnant woman's nutritional environment, whether she's facing starvation or eating a diet packed with endocrine-disrupting chemicals, can directly imprint onto the biological traits of her grandchild, and potentially even a great-grandchild. Absolutely wild.
Section 4, the thrifty phenotype concept. This is where ancestral programming violently meets modern abundance.
The crucial takeaway here
is that prenatal starvation can fundamentally reprogram a developing metabolic system. If a fetus experiences a lack of nutrition in the womb, its epigenome adapts by developing what we call a thrifty phenotype. It tweaks its gene expression to fiercely conserve calories and hoard energy stores. From an evolutionary standpoint, that's brilliant if that baby is born into a famine. But if that thrifty baby is born into our modern world of fast food, sugary drinks, and endless calories, that exact same biological code becomes a disaster. Their system aggressively hoards calories, leading to a massively increased risk of obesity, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes later in life.
Which leads us to our final section, Part 5, Hacking Your Biological Code. Let's talk about some actionable steps to restore hormonal and epigenetic balance. Consider this your daily software patch. To build up a biological shield, you want to focus on a few key pillars. First, eating 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal gives your body the raw amino acids it needs to build peptide hormones. Second, lowering added sugar and prioritizing healthy fats like avocados or nuts keeps your cortisol from skyrocketing during stress and really improves insulin resistance. Third, load up on high-fiber foods. Surprisingly, your gut bacteria actually dictate your fullness hormones, so feeding them fiber keeps you full. Add in some regular exercise, maybe lean into the Mediterranean diet, and absolutely get at least 7 hours of sleep. Sleep is when vital growth hormones are released, meaning you're actively writing a code for resilience while you rest.
And all of this ties back into the dimension of time. We have to synchronize our internal biological clocks with the cycles of the Earth. By following the circadian rhythm diet, which is really just syncing your eating schedule to daylight hours, you profoundly impact your endocrine system. See, when you eat massive meals late at night, your morning stress hormone, cortisol, stays artificially elevated way too long. That messes with your sleep, drives up inflammation, and completely disrupts hormones like insulin and leptin. By eating with the sun, you allow that cortisol to naturally taper off. It just goes to show that when you eat is just as important as what you eat.
I really want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. We've just seen that diet is so much more than calories. It's a profound language communicating directly with our cells, managing our hormones, and literally editing our epigenetic landscape. And because of transgenerational inheritance, the choices you make on your plate today don't just stop with you. They echo straight through your family tree. So looking at our modern landscape of highly processed foods and totally disrupted circadian rhythms, we really have to ask ourselves, what kind of software are we collectively writing for the generations to come? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope it gives you a powerful new perspective the next time you sit down for a meal.